Today I'm going to show you how to make a Ben 10 cake. Here, I'm going to put the candles down. So there's already a tutorial for actually making Ben 10, which I will link to. It's got that, it's the Omnitrax. I think that's what they call it, Omnitrax. So yeah, look, it's not too difficult to make. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so we're going to start by covering our cake in black fondant. I've just got a dummy cake because they don't need much cake for this party. I'm going to make a square cake for underneath. So this type I thought awesome. I'm going to do in foam. I am loving foam cakes at the moment. These are just really handy to have. They always turn out perfectly because they're the perfect shape, so you don't have to ganache. And I can make it now. The party's a week away and it's just perfect. So I have a 6-inch that I'm going to cover. I want to cover it in black fondant. So as I've said before, I always buy pre-coloured black fondant. If you're colouring white fondant, you would have to use so much black food colouring. Then you're going to change the consistency of the fondant. So just don't do it. Buy it pre-coloured. So I get Satin Ice. Bakels is the other brand that I would use, but this is great. So I'm just going to roll it out and cover it, and you can see what it looks like. Okay, so I've covered my thing in black fondant. If you can see there's a couple, I've got a couple of bits of cornstarch on it. I was going to say, just the way to get that is just to get a slightly damp paintbrush and just, you can just sort of gently rub it off. So. There you go, and that's kind of off. You can see it's a bit messy around here. I didn't really chop it off that well, but that's okay. I mean, I'll give it a proper cut. It's still really soft, the fondant. I did do a little tear at one place, but that's all right. It'll be fine. So I'm just going to give it a bit more of a smooth with my fondant smoother, and then I'm going to get to work on the top. So I'm just going to basically make my grey colour. I have, the trick is to start with just a little bit and add bits and bits as you go. Got my white here, that black, I've already mixed a bit of white in with that. The amount of times I've had a big chunk of, you know, a dark colour like black, or I've been trying to make another colour, and you make it, it's too black, and you end up with this massive heap of colour. So always start with a lot less than you think you need. Okay, so I've added Talus powder in this before rounding out, just because I find I'm actually going to leave it overnight when I cut my circle so that it's hard and it stays in a nice circle shape. Otherwise, sometimes I find when I lift it off, it gets a bit stretched and it just doesn't stay that really nice circular shape. So now what I need to do is I need to make a circle. Here's my cake here. I want to have about that much sort of around the rim. I don't have a circle cutter big enough, but what I found is I've got this tin which did have a set of heart cutters in it. So, and then I realised that's pretty much exactly the size I want. So, yay, I don't need to, it's just nice and easy. A lot of the time with a lot of your equipment, you'll find you've got cutters where you didn't even think you would have cutters. So I'm just going to use that. I'm going to cut out a grey circle, and now I'm going to roll out my green, and I'm going to cut out the same size in green. Okay, so one thing we need to do now is I just need to cut the green one in half so that I will have my two little pieces of pie to put on my grey one once they harden. So I've just got a big knife, I'm going to put the camera down and do it. So it's not like perfectly straight, but it will do. If you need to smooth it out, just sort of, you can smooth it out while it's on there. And I am going to let that harden overnight. Okay, so I just basically stuck on this. Look, this is actually, I didn't leave it overnight. It's still a bit soft. I just left it about 5 minutes. I've just stuck it on, and I'm going to leave that over the night before sticking it on my cake. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to recreate. So the next step is I'm going to use my sugar shaper, which is this. I've got some black fondant, and I'm going to squeeze out. I'll look through and get the appropriate thickness that I want. I'm going to start doing the black line around the green. So I've just squeezed out that using this. So that's the thickness that I've put. So now it's just a matter of putting it on my cake. Okay, so here is my cake. I've stuck this down. All good. I've got my strip here. I'm going to just put a bit of water. Oh, you'll be so careful with black. So just put a strip there. And I'm just going to gently lie it across and grab that, and I can just cut it perfectly into place. So you see where I've sort of cut it, and then here as well I can just cut it, and because it's hard underneath, I shouldn't have moved that. You can cut it pretty much in line. I'm going to put a black circle around the end anyway. So likewise, I'm just going to now do black here, black on each line. So this is what it's like at the moment. You can sort of see the joins up close, but look, I think if I was just use one big bit and do it around, you wouldn't get sort of the sharp edges. I think the sharp edges is what you need. And it's quite hard to tell that I've just put, you can't really see it, but I'm actually going to put now grey around that outside, which is why I sort of wanted the black there for now. Okay, so next up I'm going to make, I've got my grey again, and I'm just going to, I just need to roll it out to make a nice even sausage shape to go around the Omnitrix or watch, or whatever you call it. So once you sort of roll it out, then I'm going to use my fondant smoother just to get it nice and smooth. So basically, I'm just going to keep doing this until I've got a long enough to go around. Obviously that's nowhere near big enough, so I'll keep rolling and thinning it out. Okay, once you're happy with that, I'm just going to wet the side, wet around it. Oops. That's annoying. And I'll just grab. Just want to roll. See, this bit's a bit too. I'm just going to chop this one off here, and off. Oops. And join it up at the back. So you can see here how it's a bit careless with the water and it's all shiny. That's fine. I'm probably actually going to paint the whole top with some glaze just because I've done that. And here the join is rubbish, but I'm going to put some little white things, 4 of these white things on, so I'll put it there to cover that up. Okay, so we're going to do the little buttons or whatever they're called on top of the thing, the watch thing. Oh, I don't know what it's called, Omnitrax, whatever. Anyway, so I've rolled out 4 balls all the same size, and then it's just a matter of, you know, making a flattened circle. So, you know, you just keep sort of pressing it out, seeing that it's the same size as the other ones, and yeah, so I'm just going to do my 4th one, and then I've got my green, and I'm going to do a smaller one on top. Okay, so I've rolled out my green, just sort of smoothing it over. Then I'll just dab a little bit middle, keep it raised like that before kind of pressing it down just a little bit. You can sort of change the shape, make it right while it's on there. So I'm just going to do that for the other ones, and then I'm going to stick them on my cake and I'll show you. Okay, so I've just stuck those on. And last thing I'm going to do is on this side, so on the side where the grey is, I'm going to just roll out some of my green and make a number 4 because the boy is 34. Okay, so I just bought these today, FMM large number cutters, because I've got just small ones and I thought this would be cool. So I rolled out my green. It's a bit dry because, but you basically want to roll it out. I don't think there's any Tylose added to that. It's just left over from yesterday. Actually, there might be a little bit in it. Anyway, you want to make sure it's you know, a bit dry once you roll it out. Otherwise, it's literally going to stick in here. It's going to be interesting to do with one hand. And then basically, you're going to press it in. Take it out. And then using 2 hands, I'm just going to gently, I'm going to have to do this myself. Sorry, I can't do it with one hand. Just gently pull it apart. And then I'm going to let it dry for a little bit before I stick it on. Okay, so that's the 4, and that's how I'm going to leave the cake. You can see here, oh, that's really going to annoy me. It's too thin, but anyway, that's just, so it's going to be little things, little flaws with the cake. So that's basically the top of it. I'm just going to, yeah, I've baked my square cake, and I will fix the bottom and finish the decorating tomorrow.